2 weeks. That is how long the Bipartisan Problem Solvers Caucus is giving themselves to put together a bipartisan stimulus package and get all of Congress on board and get the Biden administration on board as well. That is going to be a very tough task, but that is what the meeting today, the big meeting, was all about. Today, this very important meeting was held between Brian Deese, who's the chairman of the National Economic Council. It was between him and 16 members of the Problem Solvers Caucus. These 16 members and Brian Deese all met via a Zoom call. Now, there are still details coming out about this call, and my guess is we will get more details over the next probably day or so. But according to multiple reports, it was a progressive call. They made progress. They are starting to see some light at the end of this tunnel. Not much, but a little bit. First, the number 2 Democrat in the Senate, Dick Durbin, he said that today's meeting made it clear that the Biden administration's top priority is passing the American Rescue Plan. Remember, the American Rescue Plan, this is that $1.9 trillion stimulus package that includes $1,400 direct payments, aka stimulus checks to all. It includes $400 per week for unemployment. This would be extended for 28 weeks. This would also include PUA and PEUC. This would be $170 billion for schools. This would include $400 billion for vaccine distribution, development, testing, and tracing. $350 billion to state and local governments, a $15 federal minimum wage, additional tax credits, and much more. But according to multiple reports, many lawmakers on this call, their priorities in this call, and again, this is strictly confidential. This is, need to know. This was, very limited access. So these reports that we're getting, again, they are leaks from anonymous sources, from people that maybe were on the call, but do not want to give out all the details. Again, a lot of these are coming from Bloomberg, CNN, the Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, places like that. So very reputable sources. Now, on this call, many lawmakers were questioning whether or not the $1,400 stimulus checks are being sent to the right people. Could we target these a little bit better? That's what they're asking. Many are urging the current administration to make this more stringent so that Congress does not just give away money. This call was not intended to be a negotiation. That's what we're hearing, is that this was not a negotiation, that Brian Deese did not give out really much detail other than what the Biden administration has given him. So here's what we know. The purpose of this call was very simple. It was just a fact-finding mission. That was all it was. A fact-finding call. The group of lawmakers, they want to strike a deal and get the economy to fully open, but they are currently saying that they do not want to spend money frivolously. Well, that's understandable. Nobody does. And especially when they're spending taxpayer dollars, it makes it understandable that yes, you want to go in there with the mindset of let's just provide for those that are really in need. And that is what's currently looked at as what is currently being seen as this is what we must do. We must provide for only those that have lost their job, that are struggling to pay rent, that can't put food on the table, just for the essentials. That's what's being said right now. Now, according to the Washington Post, the common consensus is that all lawmakers prioritize funding for additional vaccine distribution and development. That's their priority. This is also the Biden administration's priority as well. According to the experts right now, this is being seen as one of the missing pieces, one of the only missing pieces to fully open up the economy and allow the United States to fully recover. Now, in my personal opinion, I think there's other things that have to happen in order to fully recover and get the United States to be back to pre-pandemic levels, but who am I? I'm no expert. I'm just some guy on YouTube. One reporter said that this call today was extremely productive and it shows a willingness to compromise for the good of the American people. And that's good to hear. That's really good to hear that both Republicans and Democrats are willing to compromise. They say that nobody on the call question the price tag of this proposal, which is $1.9 trillion. This is something that we have heard multiple times. Again, Mitt Romney was on this call, and he did not bring up the price tag. Nobody mentioned the price tag. They just wanted to know what was the Biden administration's current priority. What should we be looking at? What does the Biden administration want to do? How much do they really want to provide for certain things? That's what we're hearing, but the overall price tag was not discussed. It was also said that everybody was on board with passing this as a comprehensive package as opposed to breaking this into smaller bills. Remember, we have heard multiple reports that, and these are coming from, again, the Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, CNN, Bloomberg, very reputable sources, and they're saying that there are senior Democrats working on a bill right now that's going to include just additional checks for people with children. That $3,600 for children ages 0 through 5 and $3,000 for children aged 6 to 17. These checks would go to their parents every single month. And they want this to go on past this pandemic. So that's one of the bills that's currently being worked on. But that's also a piece of legislation within the $1.9 trillion stimulus package. So right now they're saying that everybody was on board with a comprehensive package. And what Jen Psaki said the other day, and Brian Deese simply reiterated this during the White House press briefing, was that no, the Biden administration and most Democrats do not want to break this down into smaller bills, into standalone bills. And with Democrats holding the majority as of right now, there's really no point to do this. Now, one of the things that you need to understand is that right now, the Biden administration is not looking at this as a stimulus package. They want to look at this $1.9 trillion proposal as a COVID relief package. A comprehensive relief package. That's what they're calling this, not a stimulus package. It's an additional relief package. Remember, the $900 billion COVID relief bill that was passed about a month ago, they didn't want to call that a stimulus package either, because stimulus is not what they want to make the priority at this time. They want to make it on COVID relief. Vaccines, vaccination, funding, schools, the unemployed. That's what they want this to be. But this package will include some form of stimulus. Right now, it is going to be $1,400. But who receives it? That's currently up in the air. Nobody knows. But one of the things that was brought up, in addition to the $1,400 stimulus checks, can we make those more targeted? Because they're going to people that have jobs. Why is that? So one of the things that was mentioned multiple times and asked by multiple lawmakers is, how much of the December $900 billion COVID relief package was already spent? How much money was spent? How much money does the government still have? How much money do states have at this point? How much money has been spent for unemployment? How much money was sent out for stimulus checks? That's what's currently being asked. Now, Brian Deese will take these questions back to his office this week, and he's going to get answers. The current reports are stating that later on this week, there should be another call between lawmakers and Brian Deese. They might even get more lawmakers on this call as well. And then the legislative process can begin with the Problem Solvers Caucus figuring out, going to different representatives in the House, different senators in the Senate, and figuring out, okay, you're a Democrat, you're a Republican, I don't care. What do you support? How much additional relief do you support? We just passed $900 billion, just a month ago. And let's say, Brian Deese comes out and says, oh, we spent about $600 billion. The rest is unspent. My guess is that number is a little bit off. Let's say he spent about $450, about half of it. Okay, we spent about half that money. The rest is still sitting there. What's going to happen then? So these are the questions that we're currently wondering, is what are we going to see? But this is what the Problem Solvers Caucus is set out to do. Go and put together a new package that has overwhelming bipartisan support from both Republicans and Democrats, and figure out, can we reach a deal? If we can, what does that package include? What will be there, and what is going to be missing? And that's something that they can send back to Brian Deese, give it to President Biden, and see, is this something that you'd be comfortable with? Does Nancy Pelosi support this? Does Chuck Schumer support this? Well, that we'll just have to wait and see. What we know right now is that the lawmakers, technically all lawmakers, have a set deadline. And these are the 16 lawmakers that were on this call, have pretty much set up their own deadline at this point. The deadline for this process, what we're hearing is that right now they're saying that to have input from both parties and the current administration, this will most likely take weeks. But they know once the Senate takes up the impeachment trial that is supposed to happen on on February 8th, this just shows how far off we are, because I'm still calling this September. Sometimes I still think we're in December, but we're almost in February. But what they're saying is that right now we know that Nancy Pelosi is going to send the articles of impeachment over to the Senate tomorrow on January 25th. That means that we will most likely see the Senate take up the impeachment trial starting February 8th. February 8th. That means that Problem Solvers Caucus has just 2 working weeks to put something together before the Senate will prioritize the impeachment trials over any stimulus talks and negotiations. That means right now the deadline for this, and that they're shooting for, is going to be February 8th. But like always, I do expect that this will be pushed back. I do expect other things are going to come up. Who knows? The Senate might just take off a Friday or two. We don't know what they decide to do. And as far as the House, again, we don't know what they're doing. But right now, what I can tell you is the Senate is the one that we are all looking at, because the Senate is the one that we know is going to have the most issues. Will the Senate end up using the budget reconciliation? According to Bernie Sanders, he says yes, he would do that. However, the Biden administration and President Biden, they currently are saying no, we don't want to do that. We want to negotiate directly with Republicans and Mitch McConnell and see if we can come to some type of bipartisan agreement and get a deal done. So that's what we know right now. Tomorrow morning, my guess is we're going to have a lot more updates, not only on this particular call, but on other things as well. My guess is we should have another press conference with President Biden tomorrow and the next day as well. Hopefully we do. Hopefully we get more updates. We get a little bit insight as to what is really going to happen with stimulus, because right now the American people are suffering and they need additional help. So again, I just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Consider subscribing so I can continue to keep you updated on everything that's going on. And again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.